After spending some time with it, I thought it might be helpful to share what I have noticed so far. If you are looking at something like this, you are probably in one of a few situations. You have had a power outage and you do not want to worry about your fridge and your internet router next time. You camp or travel and you want quiet power that does not smell like fuel. Or you work with tools and you want something you can roll to where you are working without running extension cords everywhere. That is the lane this kit sits in. It is a big battery power station with solar panels, meant to run real appliances, not just charge phones. In this kit, I have the Explorer 2000 Plus power station, the matching add-on battery, and two SolarSaga 200-watt solar panels. What matters in real use is that the add-on battery basically doubles how long you can run things compared to the main unit by itself. When I used it around the house, that extra capacity changed how relaxed I felt. Instead of constantly checking the display and doing math in my head, I could just plug in what I needed and let it ride. The first thing I noticed when I started moving it around is that it is heavy in a way you will respect immediately. The main unit is a little over 60 pounds, and with the add-on battery and panels, the whole setup becomes something you plan around. The wheels and the pull handle are not a cute bonus. They are the difference between using it often and leaving it in a corner. I can tilt it back and roll it across my driveway like luggage. That part works the way you want it to. Carrying it upstairs or lifting it into a trunk by myself is where I slow down and think twice. Build-wise, it feels like a workbox. Hard plastic shell, thick handle, sturdy ports, and nothing about it feels flimsy. I would not throw it around, but I also do not feel like I have to baby it. The solar panels are much easier to deal with than the main station. They fold up, they are light enough to carry with one hand, and the built-in legs make it simple to aim them toward the sun without improvising with rocks or a chair. The screen on the front is one of those features you stop noticing because it just does its job. It shows input power, output power, and battery percentage in a way that is actually readable from a normal standing distance. In practice, that means I can plug in a device, look at the number jump, and immediately know if I am pushing it too hard or if everything is fine. During an outage, that kind of clarity matters more than people think, because you are already stressed and you do not want to guess. Port selection is also where this unit feels like it was designed by someone who has actually tried to power a mix of stuff. I used the alternating current outlets for a full-size refrigerator and some lamps. I used the universal serial bus ports for phones and a tablet. I used the 12-volt car-style outlet for a small inflator. The point is not that it has every port imaginable. It is that I did not have to stop and find adapters for basic home and camping needs. In terms of what it can run, I tested it with a refrigerator, lights, my home office setup, and some kitchen appliances. The refrigerator startup surge is usually what trips up smaller battery stations. This one did not care. It just ran, and the output number stayed stable. I also tried a microwave briefly, more as a reality check than a daily plan, and it handled it. I would not run a microwave nonstop on any battery station because it drains energy fast, but for a quick heat up, it was fine. Noise is another thing I care about. I have used gas generators before, and even when they are working perfectly, the constant engine sound changes the vibe of everything. This unit is basically quiet. I can hear a gentle fan sound when it is working hard, but it is not distracting, and it does not feel sketchy to use nearby. I have used it indoors during a short outage, and the lack of fumes is the whole point of going this route. Charging is where the kit either makes sense for you or it does not. Plugging it into a wall outlet is simple, and it charges fast enough that I did not feel like I had to baby it or schedule my day around it. Solar charging is more situational, but it is also the reason I would buy the kit instead of only the power station. With the two 200-watt panels in good sun, I saw close to 400 watts coming in when I got the angle right, and the sky was clear. When clouds rolled through, the input dropped, then climbed back up without me doing anything. That is the practical benefit of having solar optimization built in. You still need sun, but you do not need to constantly fiddle with settings. A full solar recharge with two panels is not a quick lunch break thing. For me, It was more like a solid chunk of the day. I could set the panels out in the morning, check the input number once in a while, and by later afternoon I was in a good place. For weekend trips, that routine works. For longer off-grid stretches, you either conserve more or you bring more panels, or you accept that you are going to run some things less often. Day-to-day use is straightforward. I plug things in, I watch the screen to make sure I am not doing anything dumb, and I do not think about it much after that. The only time I really pay attention is when I am running something that cycles on and off like a refrigerator. Then I will check the remaining battery before I go to sleep, just to know what kind of morning I am walking into. The battery chemistry here is lithium iron phosphate, and that matters for two reasons in real life. It is generally more stable, and it is designed for a lot of charge cycles. I'm not sitting there counting cycles, but I do like knowing that regular use is not going to wear it out quickly. It makes me more willing to actually use the thing instead of saving it for some imaginary emergency. The mobile app is better than I expected, mostly because it is practical. I can see input and output power in real time from my phone. If I am inside and the unit is in the garage charging from solar, I do not have to walk out there just to check progress. I can also toggle certain outputs, which is handy when I realize something is still plugged in. It is not something I obsess over, but it has saved me a couple of times. There are limitations, and they are the kind you should know before you commit to a setup like this. The weight is the constant trade-off. Wheels help on flat ground, but they do not solve stairs or lifting. Solar panels work best when you can place them in full sun with a clean angle, which is not always possible in a crowded campsite or a shaded yard. And while the port selection is good, there is no wireless charging pad on top, which would have been a nice convenience for phones. Another practical note is that if you need 240-volt power for certain appliances, you are not getting that out of a single unit. That is a separate, more complex setup. For most people running standard household devices, it is not an issue, but I want to say it out loud because someone will ask. So where do I land after using it? I think the Jackery Solar Generator 4000 kit makes sense for someone who wants a quiet, rollable power source that can handle a refrigerator, basic home needs, and the usual camping and travel electronics, with the option to refill using solar when the grid is not available. It feels sturdy, it is easy to understand, and it behaves predictably, which is what I want from a big battery sitting in my house. I do not think it is for someone who only wants to charge phones or someone who needs something they can lift easily on their own. This is a tool. It takes up space. It has weight. But it has also been reliable for me in the ways that matter, and I find myself trusting it more the longer I use it. I will update specific information about the Jackery Solar Generator 4000 kit in the comments. Don't forget to catch my next video.